Let's talk about something that nobody wants to hear. We're not stuck because we're lazy. We're stuck because we keep trying to skip. We're trying to skip discomfort. We're trying to skip the work. We're trying to skip the process, the emotional work, the becoming, the repetition. And the world is selling shortcuts like they're freedom. It's giving folk just trying to make a sale. It's giving, do this hack, buy this course, manifest overnight, do this routine. And it's like, bruh, all of that is gimmicky. All of it's giving fat diet. Like, none of it is helping. All of it is actually keeping you trapped. Truth is, just because hustle culture is collapsing doesn't mean that there isn't work. There is work. However, that work is mainly internal. It's stabilizing work, it's integrity work, and inner stability is going to compound results faster than any external tactic literally ever will. So today, we're going to break down why shortcuts keep you stuck and how real power comes from what you build inside. Welcome to episode 5 of It's Ashante. We finna have a ball with this one. Shortcuts are seductive because they offer relief without true transformation, right? They make you feel like you're moving, but in that movement, you aren't actually changing. Most people, when you get down to the bottom line of it, they don't want results. They more so want relief. People typically want relief from uncertainty, discomfort, discipline, and emotional weight. So as a result, we tend to chase external factors, right? We say, oh, I need a new strategy. I need a new aesthetic. I need a new mentor. I need a new plan. I need a new secret.
Wait a minute.
You don't need none of that. You don't need to change the plan. You don't need another idea. What you need is structure. Because at the end of the day, if your internal foundation is frantic, there's not a single external tactic that you can do to get your foundation to hold up. So let's talk about when it comes to starting a business, right? Someone says, I want to start a business, right? And I want to get 10K months. They too worried about 10K months. Oh, wait, let me take this. They're too worried about getting 10K months, right? So what do, right? They buy 6 or 7 courses that they probably don't even need. They copy someone else's funnel and they jump from idea to idea to idea. The problem with that is, in doing that, you never truly build. You have to build the consistency. There's just a lot going on, y'all. There's just a lot going on. The issue with that is the person never truly builds, right? You have to build the consistency. You have to build the emotional endurance, because let's be real, running a business is a roller coaster of emotions. You have to build your patience, your self-trust. That's a huge thing, because you're going to have people coming out the woodworks with advice. And you also have to build actual systems that will get you up and running and keep you up and running. You have to do things in a way that will actually get your business to stabilize. If you're just looking for shortcuts, your business will never stabilize. You have to get to a point where you understand you aren't lacking information. You got all the information you need. What you're lacking is internal stability. And that's just in a worldly sense. People do this on a internal sense as far as wellness also, right? You say you want to be healed, right? But you want to be healed without sitting in silence. You want to be healed without feeling grief. You want to be healed without changing your patterns. And you want to be healed without regulating that nervous system. The recurring theme is nervous system regulation, internal power before your external can show you all the work you've been doing. Anyway, to get back to my point about wellness, you have people who say, oh, I want to be healed. I've been eating like dirt for 30 years. So let me do this quick 3-day detox and think that I've completely healed my system and rebooted my body and my digestive tract is all better and my gut health and all my issues and ailments and issues and diseases are all gone. Doesn't work like that. When I first changed my diet and I decided to do some detoxes. What I did was actual cleanses. Things that I took herbal supplements that cleansed you on a cellular level, which meant that first 7 days, you're gonna be feeling like dirt because all the crap is coming up. And a lot of the times those cleanses um were brutal, right? They were quite honestly very brutal. You feel a little fluish, but then you realize this kind of makes more sense than me thinking that pooping for 3 days straight was going to really cleanse me and cure me of my ailments. It took me anywhere from 60 to 90 days, which is still a decent time. If 30 years of life you've been treating your body like crap and you try to heal it, that 90 days, that 90-day period was still a pretty decent time to have healed yourself, especially if you're curing things like asthma, psoriasis, gut issues. Still a pretty decent time, but it's not 3 days. It's not 7 days. True wellness takes time. It takes effort. It takes consistency. You can't do the quick detoxes. You can't get the viral supplements that are all over the Instagrams and TikToks. You can't do spiritual bypasses and have this high vibe only mindset. That's another thing that I feel like people get confused when it comes to healing. It's not this happy go lucky unicorn and sunshine and rainbows. It's tough. It gets ugly, and you have to be able to face those things without beating yourself up, because again, that's all a part of the process. And I also feel like we have to stop looking at healing as a hack. Healing is you building a relationship with yourself. And when you're trying to build a relationship with yourself, shortcuts actually delay that relationship. So here you are thinking you're doing something that's going to get you ahead, when although it may not be getting you behind, you're still very much so stuck. One thing about shortcuts is they keep you dependent, right? And that internal power gives you the freedom. That self-awareness, that ability to be self-aware and self-assured, that's going to give you the freedom. Okay, so boom, we have to understand that although we are not meant to hustle, we are still meant to build. However, when it comes to putting in the effort for that building, that effort should not be frantic. It needs to be grounded. It needs to be rooted. And it's the difference between forcing outcomes versus becoming the kind of person. It's about becoming the kind of person who can hold these outcomes. So you can say, oh God, I want to be a millionaire. And okay, God gonna take you through that. You're gonna learn the lessons and learn all the tactics that you need to have the capacity to hold that new life. You have to become before you can tangibly have the things. Shortcuts focus on the prize. Can't be too focused on the prize. Inner work focuses on the person. And that is why inner stability compounds faster, because when you become stable, everything starts to multiply. You're going to be looking around like, dang, it's picking up around here. Yeah, because you're stable now. So let's say, let's talk about fitness, for example. You know good and well that if you want to get stronger in the gym, you don't just go to the gym and lift one weight and become fitness goals, right? You got to work towards that. You have to gradually work towards that. So you can buy the waist trainers and you can do the fat diets and you can do these 30-day crash courses, but you know good and well that is not how true strength is built. It's about a complete lifestyle change. It's about, again, an identity shift. Real strength is produced by showing up, repetition, recovery, discipline, and a full-blown identity shift and a full-blown identity change. So let's talk about avoiding shortcuts as it pertains to content creation and creativity, right? You have people who will want to grow super, super fast online. So they do all of the trending reels and all of the, quick attention reels versus doing the things that it takes to build yourself in the long run. And the people who build audiences who come back over and over in the long run, those are people who, for one, are very much so trusting their message, being very authentic, just completely being themselves, meaning they're not chasing a trend or chasing a funny reel or putting on an act because, oh, this is what's funny right now. They're just simply being themselves. They have a regulated nervous system and they value the consistency over what's hype right now. So the shortcut will most definitely get you the attention, but the inner power is what will build all the impact that you need to have your audience come back over and over and want to keep up with you. Shortcuts will get you a moment, but that inner stability will give you that lifelong, constant success over and over and over. So it's time for the wellness tip, and I've given you all this tip before. However, we're going to add an extra layer to this tip for when you are feeling pressured to do a shortcut versus doing the regulation so that you can have the long-term success. So you can do this when you're feeling the urge to do a shortcut. So at least once a day, you want to sit with no input, and that means no music, no phone, no hoopla videos about manifestation, and no type of productivity hack, right? We are going to try to wean ourselves off of needing to try to convince ourselves and actually give our body practical tools to feel safe and to feel regulated. All right, so one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. And you want to breathe into your nose for 4 seconds. Breathe out through your mouth for 6 seconds. And then you want to ask yourself, what is it that I'm trying to skip right now? Where am I trying to find the shortcut? Am I skipping discipline? Am I skipping grief? Am I skipping rest? Because rest is just as important as the work. Or maybe I'm trying to skip being patient. Ask yourself, what is it that you're trying to skip? And then once you figure that out, let yourself know that you don't need a shortcut. You don't need a shortcut. You simply need the capacity. It's almost like being a mother who thinks she needs a break from her kids, when really she just needs a break with her kids. What she really needed a break from was the dishes, was the cleaning. What you need is capacity. And in that capacity is where you'll find the regulation, is where you'll find the wealth, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, worldly, monetarily. Is that a word? That's the wealth. That's where you find the wealth. So yeah, you're not stuck because you aren't doing enough. You're stuck because you keep reaching for the exit versus trying to properly build the foundation. Shortcuts are not saving you. They are sedating you. The real flex isn't moving fast. It's moving rooted. You don't want to take a bunch of steps just because. You want to take sure steps that are actually taking you where you really want to go. Cutting out shortcuts is you doing the inner work so that nothing outside of you can control you. No external circumstance can make you feel either way about your path, because you're so regulated that you know that regardless of what is happening on the outside, you're sure of yourself on the inside. Therefore, you're sure you're going to get to whatever goal it is that you have in mind. Inner stability compounds faster than any external tactic ever will. So, ditch the shortcut, choose the process, choose the power, and I'll see you next time on It's Shante. Bye.